Welcome to Silent Witness Chronicles. Tonight, we revisit one of America's most disturbing unsolved crimes, a case that has haunted the city of Austin, Texas, for more than 3 decades: the yogurt shop murders. On the cold night of December 6, 1991, 4 teenage girls, Namie Ayers, Dorothy Dottie Williams, Lisa Jewett, and Shannon Warren were simply working an evening shift, preparing to close the small frozen yogurt store where they had spent countless quiet nights serving families, students, and neighbors. But what happened during those final hours would become one of the most horrific and complex murder cases in U.S. history. As the shop prepared to close around midnight, witnesses recalled seeing 2 unidentified men inside, sitting casually, almost too casually, as if waiting for something. Minutes later, a passing patrol officer noted the door was unlocked, a small detail that at the time seemed harmless, but would later suggest forced entry or a rushed escape. Soon after 11:45 p.m., smoke began rising from the building, and firefighters rushed to what they assumed was a simple commercial fire. But when the flames were extinguished, what they discovered inside changed everything. The bodies of the girls were found bound, gagged, and shot. Some were positioned in ways that suggested they had been moved post-mortem. The fire had destroyed major evidence. This was not an accidental blaze, but an intentional attempt to hide the truth. The brutality stunned Austin. News spread rapidly. Parents pulled their children from night shifts. Local businesses added new locks. And for the first time in many years, a city known for music, arts, and Southern warmth felt violated by something unfathomably evil. Detectives began working around the clock. They interviewed dozens of witnesses, examined burned cash registers, searched dumpsters, and even attempted to reconstruct the crime scene from charred remains. But the fire had done its job too well. Clues were incomplete, timelines were blurred, and the killers had vanished. Under enormous public pressure, police turned their attention to a group of teenage boys, Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott among them. After hours of aggressive and controversial interrogation practices, 2 of the teens confessed, but their statements didn't match each other, didn't align with the physical evidence, and included details investigators later admitted were fed to them during questioning. No fingerprints, no blood, no DNA, nothing physical linked them to the crime scene. Yet they were charged, tried, and convicted. Families of the victims clung to hope that justice had been served, but over time, doubt spread. Appeals revealed coercive interrogations. Experts in forensic psychology testified that false confessions were common under the intense pressure tactics used. Eventually, both convictions were overturned. Years passed. Technology improved. New DNA tests were performed. The results were devastating, not because they revealed the killers, but because they showed someone entirely different had been inside the shop that night. Someone who has never been identified. Someone still out there. This revelation reopened old wounds for the grieving families, who had spent decades navigating trials, appeals, media interviews, and endless unanswered questions. The 2025 documentary series reignited national interest, interviewing retired detectives, criminologists, memory experts, and the victims' families. They examined the interrogation tapes, the destroyed evidence, and the haunting confession transcripts filled with inconsistencies. They explored how trauma distorts memory, how investigators sometimes see what they want to see, and how small American towns grapple with violent crimes that shatter their sense of safety. One of the most heartbreaking elements was the story of the families who still keep the girls' rooms intact, photos framed, and candles lit for their anniversaries. They organized marches, advocated for interrogation reform, and continued calling for leads when those leads dried up. The yogurt shop murders became more than a crime. It became a symbol of flawed justice, a symbol of a community wounded but resilient, a symbol of 4 young girls whose dream school, college, friendships, their futures were stolen in a single night by someone who has yet to face justice. And perhaps the most chilling part is what detectives admit privately, that the killers may have been drifters passing through Austin, that they may have committed similar crimes, that they could still be alive, silent, watching the world forget what they did. But Austin has not forgotten. Memorial plaques remain. Old news clippings still hang in police halls. Detectives nearing retirement still open the files on quiet mornings, hoping that someone, somewhere, knows something. As you reflect on this case, remember, behind every headline are real human lives for girls whose final hours were filled with fear, confusion, and pain they never deserved. Their story persists not because of morbid fascination, but because unresolved injustice demands to be remembered. If this story moved you, subscribe for more deep investigations and comment what you believe truly happened that night. This is Silent Witness Chronicles, where the dead are silent, but their stories continue to speak.